You may have seen scary videos before, but the clips gathered today are on another level of chills. These are disturbing encounters and truly chilling phone captures, recording some of the most unsettling moments ever filmed. In this grainy hallway clip, a stationary night vision camera captures a dim indoor corridor lined with pale tiles and wooden walls. A man stands with his back turned while a dog nearby suddenly goes rigid. Seconds later, a thin, dark, humanoid figure bursts into view from the shadows. Its movements are sharp and unnatural as it crouches low, almost predatory, appearing to silently study both the man and the frozen dog before slipping back into the darkness. In this night vision home CCTV clip, an unsettling female sits uneasy on a chair in an otherwise empty living room. Without warning, the chair beneath her jerks and slides back on its own, sending the figure recoiling in fear. As she scrambles, an eerie, almost predatory presence seems to crawl just beyond the frame, its movements low, deliberate, and unnatural. The footage feels like leaked evidence, the kind of paranormal moment caught completely by accident and never meant to be seen. What do you think of this? On Sunday, security camera footage shows the backyard of a house in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. During the night, the homeowner received an alert and upon checking the footage, saw a huge, pale humanoid entity roaming the yard. Its body was strong and disturbingly similar to that of a rake, as if it were searching for a way to enter the house. Terrified, the resident immediately called the police. However, when he reported that a humanoid entity was circling his property, the call was treated as a joke. After 2 hours, the creature simply disappeared. Even so, his sense of safety was never the same again. A video recorded in 2015 in the Lacandon jungle in Mexico shows soldiers investigating strange noises coming from the forest near a military base. They sent up a drone equipped with a thermal camera over the area. That was when the camera revealed a gigantic creature among the trees. It was at least 3 meters tall with long, thin limbs and an enormous tail. The most unsettling detail was how other animals moved around it calmly, as if that creature were part of the environment and something already familiar to them. Its appearance resembled Aesel, an extremely dangerous predatory beast from Aztec mythology, believed to hunt humans with terrifying precision. For that reason, no one attempted to approach it. Terrifying humanoid chase. Who would imagine that a simple drive along a forest road could turn into a nightmare? For a tourist in northern Oregon, that is exactly what happened. While driving, he noticed a terrifying humanoid figure standing among the trees. Although the body appeared human, the behavior was completely animalistic. Its skin was so pale that it looked like it had never seen sunlight, as though the creature had spent its entire life hidden in the shadows of the forest. Suddenly, it began crawling towards him in a deeply disturbing way. The fear was so intense that he felt his life flash before his eyes and fled the area immediately. Strange evolution. I can guarantee you have never seen creatures like these before. A team of explorers entered a remote region of the Dandaranya forest in India, a place rarely visited. There, they encountered a group of gray-skinned beings gathered in a clearing. Despite having humanoid forms, their limbs were completely distorted. They had strange appendages across their bodies and glowing eyes, making it impossible to understand exactly what they were. A girl who was home alone doing chores heard strange knocking at the door, even though no one was there. The strangest part is that even the dog became scared. She decided to set up a camera in case it happened again, and what was captured was truly disturbing. The door opened on its own, and the camera shook for a few seconds. Maybe it was some kind of ghost or an intruder, since the dog seemed to sense danger. But when she went to check, she found nothing and no one. On a sunny day, a man was home alone when he noticed something terrifying behind the washing machine. He turned on the camera and moved closer. A strange being with long black hair and glowing eyes was staring directly at him. The cold stare paralyzed him with fear. His wife and daughter were in the living room, so he needed to make sure no one had broken into the house. But as he approached, the creature simply vanished. To make things worse, the bathroom door opened as if someone pushed it from the inside, but again, there was no one there. He did not tell his wife at the time, but days later he showed her the video. Since then, both have felt uneasy inside their home. Recently, a camera installed by a hunter to monitor animals in the Estrela forest in Peloponnese, Greece, recorded something unexpected. A pale, shadowy figure with a sickly appearance was perched high on a tree branch with long, tangled hair, the kind of sight capable of causing nightmares for weeks. When he shared the video, some suggested it could be Hecate, the Greek goddess of witchcraft. A girl who was alone at her grandparents' house came across a strange glowing object floating in the air, moving up and down behind the refrigerator. She became so scared that she only filmed while trying to understand what she was seeing. Could it be a jinn manifesting, since some believe they are made of fire, or something else? The question remains. Peculiar figure in the hospital. A group of doctors was celebrating in the surgical center after successfully completing a heart transplant. One of them was recording the moment when suddenly a strange figure passed in front of the glass door wearing black clothes. They went out to check but found no one. Moments later, something even more terrifying happened. A stretcher began moving on its own as if pushed by an invisible force. After that, the doctors refused to work the night shift. Strange shadow. In 2022, a man in Brooklyn, New York experienced a disturbing moment. Just before sleeping, he heard strange noises, turned on the light, checked the bedroom and the bathroom. Nothing. When he walked out of the room, he saw a shadow behind the glass door, but when he opened it, there was no one. He locked everything and tried to sleep, but the fear of what he had seen would not let him. Recorded skinwalkers. A group of friends was walking through dense bushes in Uttar Pradesh, India, when they saw something terrifying. A creature with long, messy hair, wearing white, crawling on the ground. The most disturbing part is that it was not alone. Another creature was watching from inside a tunnel with eyes glowing in the dark. They ran immediately. People suggested it could be a skinwalker or a hike, but no one agrees on what it really was. A young woman was visiting a museum in Hertfordshire, United Kingdom, to see a huge reproduction of a Quetzalcoatlus, a 12-meter flying animal that once existed on Earth. While filming, she stepped back, and the creature slightly moved its neck, tilting to look in her direction. Frightened, she asked the staff if the dinosaur was animated. They said no, but when they saw the video, they were just as scared as she was. A few months ago, a man in Rome, Italy was spending a quiet Sunday at home when his peace turned into fear. He saw a strange figure in a nearby room, and the moment was recorded. The figure had an unusually pale face, almost white with deep sunken eyes. It appeared upside down, peeking from the corner of the door, watching the man for several seconds. Even scared, he searched the entire house, but found no one. Creepy doll. One night in Irvine, Texas, a boy was about to sleep when he heard strange sounds coming from the room next door. He got up, turned on the camera, and was terrified when the flashlight revealed a doll-like figure standing in the middle of the room. It had blonde hair, white eyes, and a macabre smile that made everything worse. He immediately called his father. When they went to check, there was no doll in the room. Where it came from and where it disappeared to remain a mystery. A woman was recording a song on her phone when she captured something peculiar. While singing, a hairy and frightening hand appeared on the wall, moving over the staircase. The most disturbing part is that her dog also sensed something strange and began barking as if it could see something invisible. Many believe animals can perceive the supernatural. She got up and panned the camera around the environment, but there was nothing. Dancing girl. This video went viral when it was shared in 2024. A man was on the balcony when he saw a strange girl on the sidewalk. She danced with her arms lifted horizontally, wearing a black dress and a beige coat. She had short silver hair and a distorted face. One of the comments said that the same girl had been seen in several different places around Belgrade, Serbia. No one knew who she was or why she appeared dancing like that. In Cardiff, United Kingdom, a man was playing video games when he heard strange knocking at the door. When he looked, he saw a peculiar entity outside, visible through the glass. It had a pointed face, large eyes, and wore a black cloak, staring directly at him. Was this something supernatural or just a fabricated video? A year ago, a video left the internet intrigued. A girl was recording a dance in the college parking lot when a strange black figure appeared in the background, walking directly toward her with sinister intent. The creature wore a dark cloak and seconds later mysteriously disappeared. When she watched the recording, she became terrified and posted the video asking for help. Viewers were equally disturbed. Since then, she always feels as if she is being watched when she passes the same place. Creepy doll. In January 2025, a man decided to investigate an abandoned building on the outskirts of Poland. As soon as he entered, he froze. A macabre figure appeared behind a glass door. It looked like a nun wearing a white robe, but her face was not visible. Frightened, he ran outside and never returned to the location. Unknown entity. A few weeks ago, a group of friends was enjoying a night out at a club in Lisbon, Portugal. One of them was filming a simple moment of the night without imagining what she was about to capture. First, a dark, sinister hand rested on the shoulder of one of the girls, and she didn't even notice. Then, a strange figure appeared behind them. Its face was distorted with wide eyes. One of the girls noticed something odd on the screen and became visibly scared, but when she looked over her shoulder, the figure had already disappeared. It didn't look human, so who or what was that? Appearance of a ghoul. A worker from the city of Venetia in Ukraine went to a lake to check the irrigation channels on his farm when he encountered something he would never forget. Bent over the water was a pale and terrifying entity. Its body was so thin that its rib cage could be seen through its light skin. Its limbs appeared twisted in impossible ways, making it difficult to distinguish arms from legs. The creature also had a long white beard. As it drank from the lake, the man quietly approached to record, but the creature immediately sensed his presence and turned its skeletal face toward him. In panic, he ran as fast as he could. He was not only terrified, but also confused, because the creature looked like a ghoul, and ghouls, according to legend, do not need to eat or drink. The Rake ambush. You need to prepare yourself for this story, because it is truly frightening. A man from Bakersfield, California was on a nighttime hike when he felt a strange sensation, as if something were watching him in the darkness. He started recording, and his sixth sense was right. From a dark corner, a humanoid creature crawled toward him. It was pale, with the appearance of a rake, moving low and fast. The moment it lunged forward, the man ran even faster. He had heard stories about what rakes do to people and knew he had to escape at all costs. Mountain giant. During a trip through the mountains of Mexico, a man recorded something unbelievable. While filming the landscape, he noticed a dark opening on the mountainside. When he zoomed in, he saw a gigantic humanoid figure peering out from inside. The most disturbing part was that to be visible from that distance, the creature would have to be enormous, at least 3 meters tall. The humanoid seemed to stare directly at him, as if it did not appreciate having its hiding place exposed. After that, the man kept driving, unable to shake the feeling that he had seen a real giant. Mysterious creature in the fields. In a village called Luevi in the region of Oaxaca, a farmer had been worried for days. Something had been destroying his cornfield every night. One morning, he finally saw the culprit and was terrified. In the middle of the field stood a pale, slender humanoid creature with a completely alien face. It was holding something small in its hands, possibly its offspring. The farmer tried to remain as quiet as possible while recording, but the creature was too clever and noticed him. In an instant, it sprinted away and disappeared. Even after hours of searching, the farmer never found the creature again. Humanoid chase. A man from Nigeria was traveling through the Amur Forest Reserve, an area so rich in life that he never imagined the kind of entity he would encounter. After spotting a disturbing figure, he panicked and began to run. His heart pounded as he fled, unaware that this encounter would change everything. The danger was right behind him. The entity he had seen before was now chasing him. It was a pale humanoid entity with thin limbs, and its face seemed filled with malicious intent, as if it saw the man only as a meal. Fortunately, he did not meet that fate. His will to survive was stronger than the creature's hunger, and he managed to escape. A group of men in Darbhanga, India, had been hearing strange noises every night. Tired of living in fear, they decided to follow the sounds to find out what was happening. When they reached a clearing, they came across a horrifying figure hanging from a tree. It was suspended by ropes, as if on an improvised swing. Its arms were long and its legs bent at impossible angles. From a distance, its face appeared completely empty, almost as if it had no features at all. Lacking the courage to get closer, they slowly backed away and left the area. After that, no one knew how to deal with the entity, and fear spread quickly through the village. Encounter with the Rake. What should have been just a nighttime walk turned into one of the most terrifying encounters ever recorded. Unable to sleep, a man went out for a walk in the middle of the night. Shortly after, he heard screams coming from nearby. Thinking someone might be in danger, he followed the sound while recording, but soon realized that he was the one in danger. Near some rocks, he found a pale creature with strong, muscular limbs and a smooth face with no features at all. It was a Rake. The creature used those piercing screams to lure anyone passing through the area. Realizing he had become the target, he turned and ran before the creature could reach him. The terrifying monk. During a road trip between Kunming and Dali in China, a man entered a rural road and saw a monk standing directly in the middle of the path. Monks are usually associated with peace and spirituality, but this one seemed the opposite. As he got closer, he noticed the monk was extremely pale, unnormally thin, almost skeletal. His expression was deeply disturbing. The driver didn't leave immediately, and that nearly cost him his life. Suddenly, the monk dropped to all fours and began screaming like an animal, charging straight towards the car. Fortunately, he managed to escape, but the memory of that moment would haunt him forever. Terrified and entered with flashlights, they were shocked. In one of the doorways stood a small figure, completely still, staring back at them. They aimed the flashlight at its face to see better, but there was no reaction at all. Later, residents said the height and clothing matched exactly those of the child who had lived there in the past. The officers never returned to that property.
The ghost hunting team was exploring an abandoned building known for its hauntings. After hours of finding nothing, one investigator decided to try something different. She rolled a ball across the floor, and when it stopped, asked out loud if any spirit could move it. Moments later, the ball, which had been completely still, began to roll again, this time heading straight toward a nearby room. The movement seemed intentional, as if something wanted to guide them elsewhere. People who watched the video said it was the first time they truly believed in ghosts. Honestly, after that, many said they would never play with a ball again. Similarly, in the Appalachian Mountains, police responded to calls about strange sounds echoing through the woods. When the patrol car stopped near a dense trail, a sharp, bone-chilling scream tore through the silence of the night. Whatever made that sound did not seem like anything ordinary. The Appalachian Mountains, stretching nearly 2,000 kilometers across North America, have always been linked to legends of mysterious creatures, especially Bigfoot, or Wooder as locals call it. So when those sinister howls echoed through the forest, many believed the creature was still roaming those ancient mountains, protecting the territory it considered its own. In another incident, an officer went to check a park at night after reports of disturbances. He had barely entered when a terrifying scream erupted from the darkness. The sound was strong enough for him to run back to his car without thinking twice. Whatever produced that noise was clearly not something he wanted to face alone. Perhaps not even something the police themselves were prepared to confront. Sarah worked the night shift as a security guard while also handling cleaning duties. One of her frequent posts was a nursing home where, according to her, strange activity never stopped. The moment she entered the laundry area, the atmosphere grew heavy and banging sounds echoed down the hallway. She explained that many elderly residents had passed away there and that family members often stayed nearby, waiting for their loved ones to be taken away. At one point in the early morning hours, the piano began to play by itself. In a video recorded later, strange noises emerged out of the silence, and her supply cart slid a few centimeters forward without anyone touching it. For Sarah, that was proof that something of the building's past was still present. At a closed airport, a security guard reported hearing the faint crying of a child one night. Following the sound, he saw what appeared to be a small child near the terminal windows, but as he approached, both the crying and the child vanished as if they had never existed. Guards searched the area, confused and terrified, but found nothing. When the story spread, many linked the case to paranormal activity. Some even said it could have been a skin imitating a child's cry to lure him. An abandoned house in Michigan was already famous for ghost stories, so a group of paranormal investigators finally decided to explore it. The person filming was a retired police officer. Just minutes after entering, the camera captured something none of them noticed at the time. A woman in a white dress stood in the living room. She had long black hair and no defined facial features, just watching the group. They left believing the house was empty. However, when reviewing the footage later, they nearly had a panic attack, thinking it could have been an intruder. They handed the video to the police, but officers found no sign that anyone was living there, not even footprints. During the overnight shift, a hospital security guard experienced the biggest scare of his life. While making his rounds and entering a narrow hallway, he saw a gurney coming toward him at high speed, as if someone were pushing it. However, the entire floor was empty and was supposed to be closed that night. The gurney was also completely empty. He stepped aside, kept filming, and watched the object pass him and disappear around the bend in the hallway without slowing down for even a second. It was as if whatever was moving did not care about being recorded. He did not question anything. He just got out of there as fast as possible. A police officer in Pennsylvania responded to calls about strange noises inside an abandoned building. The moment he entered, the atmosphere felt wrong. His phone shook as he recorded the narrow corridors. Suddenly, the recording captured something unsettling, a tall, solid shadow, perfectly still, as if it were waiting for him. His heart raced as he slowly backed away, refusing to turn his back. Somehow, he managed to get out.
Later, technicians analyzed the area and found elevated levels of electromagnetic radiation, the kind normally recorded near electrical discharges, not in an empty, decaying room. Among so many strange videos on the internet, this was one of the most chilling. A security camera recorded a security guard making his nightly rounds near a row of shops when something unusual happened. Suddenly, he made gestures as if calling someone over, but there was no one there. Then he crouched down and began speaking as if giving instructions to a child. However, the footage showed nothing beside him. He even pointed like someone explaining directions. After a brief conversation with that invisible presence, the guard simply walked away as if nothing had happened. Questioned later, he insisted that he had encountered a lost little girl asking for directions. But if that were true, who or what was he really talking to? A small group was enjoying a quiet night at home when things suddenly became strange. Objects began to move on their own without anyone touching them. Frightened, they called the police. When the police arrived and began their inspection, trying to stay calm, something fell off a shelf right in front of them with no one nearby. Despite the sinister feeling, the officers found nothing out of the ordinary. No signs of forced entry, no intruder, just a heavy energy in the environment that was difficult to explain. The group didn't feel any safer after the police left. Some began to believe the house was cursed. On November 23, 2018, at Mexico City International Airport, Francisco Hernandez was finishing his night shift when he heard doors banging inside a parked aircraft. Thinking it was maintenance, he went in to check. The aircraft was empty, the lights were off, and all the doors were locked. Still, something moved in front of his flashlight beam. A tall shadow appeared from behind a seat, completely still, watching him. Francisco froze. Later, the security team confirmed there was no one on board, but the audio from his camera captured faint metallic knocking even after he left the plane. Aviation staff avoid that hangar to this day, saying the place never really feels empty. These images came from a police chase in Brazil, but what caught the most attention wasn't the crash, it was what appeared in the background. A shadowy figure crossed the street at an impossible speed and passed through a police vehicle as if it didn't exist. The officers didn't seem to notice anything, but internet users were shocked. Some believe it was the ghost of someone connected to the incident. Others think it was something even stranger, perhaps a superhuman being chased by the police. If that were the case, what chance would they have had? Still, some say it was all staged. And you, what do you believe? A man looking out the window of his apartment recognized the building's security guard. What disturbed him was something that seemed to be following closely behind him. The shape resembled a shadow with human contours, but too faint to reveal any detail. The guard, apparently sensing something strange, looked over his shoulder, and at that moment the smoky silhouette disappeared. The person filming was convinced it was a malicious spirit that had attached to the guard. Online users debated if it could have been one of the so-called shadow people, supposed entities that follow humans for reasons no one understands. Residents living near a wooded area reported strange disturbances during the night, and 2 police officers were sent to investigate. At first, nothing seemed out of the ordinary until one of them noticed a figure in the distance. It looked like a person dressed in white hidden among the shadows. When he called out, there was no response. As the officer approached, the shape looked more and more like a woman in white with long hair covering her face. If this video kept you watching until the end, leave a like, comment what you think really happened, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next stories. Your support makes all the difference. The silhouette vaguely resembled that of a human being, but it was much taller than normal and remained completely motionless, as if it were watching. Before it was possible to get a clearer view, the figure slowly retreated and disappeared behind the waterfall. Some people who watched the video believe there may be a hidden cave behind the waterfall, while others defend the idea that it is some kind of forest spirit. Whatever the explanation, that unexpected detail turned an ordinary recording into an unsettling and hard-to-forget record. In another situation, during a silent night, a man was cycling along an isolated road in the middle of the forest when he noticed something strange right in front of him, in the very center of the path. Instinctively, he slowed down, turned on the camera, and adjusted the zoom to see better. At first, the figure seemed human, but it soon became clear that something was very wrong. The body was completely covered in mud, and sounds similar to cries or moans echoed through the trees, creating an oppressive atmosphere. Today's video brings terrifying encounters that went horribly wrong. Take a look at this footage recorded in Thailand. A video captured by security cameras at a house that was filming a flood when suddenly something very strange appeared in the recording, something that should not have been there. Pay close attention to the evidence. In the footage, we can see a flood, and suddenly 2 cars come by being dragged by the rushing water. But look closely. Behind the car, a shadow appeared. A silhouette that looks very much like a person. It even seems to trip and then disappears. So what was that? Was it a shadow? A figure manifesting at that moment? It is a very strange recording. The person who recorded it said that was not a person. Some people say it is just the shadow of the car, but notice that shadow. It has a humanoid shape, so it would not be the shadow of the car. What happened here? Whose shadow was that appeared in this video? It is a very strange and curious recording, but as always, you have the final word here on this channel, so comment below with your opinion. Now take a look at this impressive video that was shared on the internet. I don't have much information about it, but we can see something quite astonishing. A person was recording a street and filming the rain, but it was only raining in one area and not in the other. Check it out. How would that be possible? In the footage, we can see that it was raining, and it looked like he was right at the edge of the rain. Is this a normal phenomenon? I want to know your opinion. What do you think? What is your explanation for this video? Comment below. This man was struck by lightning. Take a look at this footage that is being widely shared on social media, where a man is supposedly mocking God when suddenly a lightning bolt strikes him. A very impressive recording. Pay attention. What do you think about this video? Could it be real footage? In the recording, we can see the man standing on a porch when suddenly lightning strikes, and he says that it did not intimidate him. Shortly after, another lightning bolt strikes him, instantly electrocuting him. Now, is this a real recording? Something manipulated or an edited video? A young woman woke up in the middle of the night to strange noises in her house. She got up to check and saw something very frightening. Pay attention.
someone was forcing the door, trying to open Lily's door. She immediately called the police, but as in many cases, when authorities arrived at the scene, there was no one there, no suspect. Most likely that night, Lily was very close to coming face to face with an intruder. Luckily, the door was locked. A family shared frightening evidence. They say strange things started happening in their house shortly after they bought a Christmas doll. Every morning, that doll was in a different position than where it had been left. One night, they set up a camera to film the doll. The doll was on top of a picture frame on the wall. Pay close attention to what happens at 3 in the morning. Out of nowhere, there is a flash of light that, according to the homeowners, could have come from the television in the living room. But at that moment, a silhouette of a small figure appears, standing and watching the doll. Many say it could be a supposed entity that uses this doll as a portal to manifest on this plane. Somehow, its energy altered the television's electrical charge and ended up appearing in this footage. And you? What do you think about this? What is your theory? Is it a staged video, a manipulated video, or real evidence? Now take a look at this video. I don't have much information about it, but they say it was recorded inside the White House. A person was watching a news report on television when they noticed very strange behavior from a woman. They quickly grabbed their phone and started recording. Pay attention to the evidence. It is very strange behavior. What was she doing there? Many people said that maybe she was not human, that she could be some kind of being in disguise. Others believe it is a manipulated video or artificial intelligence. And you? What do you think about this? What is your opinion? What you are about to see is frightening footage, a recording made by a nurse who works in a hospital. She recorded something very impressive. Hours before this video was recorded, a patient had passed away, and she was cleaning the room where that same patient had died. Something very strange happened with the machine that measures heart rate. Pay attention to the evidence. That vital signs monitor started triggering a low heart rate alert. It was as if someone were connected to it, as if someone were still linked to that machine. But as we can see, there were no patients in the room. Many believe that the vital signs monitor was detecting the pulses of the spirit of the patient who died hours before the recording, or perhaps another presence haunting that hospital. A surveillance system in a factory in Chile captured something very frightening. It was night when the sensor detected a presence outside the fence. The sensor indicated that someone was nearby. Shocked, the guards decided to check the footage, thinking it could be an intruder or an animal, but when analyzing the recording, there was nothing there. Pay attention. Through the screen, they saw a shadow appear floating, a strange dark silhouette moving slowly. That shadow advanced in an unusual way, as if it were floating, and it triggered the motion sensor of the surveillance camera. The guards are fully convinced that what appeared that night was a supernatural presence.
What you are looking at now appears to be something straight out of legend, yet it was reportedly found in the palm of someone's hand, motionless and eerily lifelike. The small figure has delicate wings, a humanoid form, and proportions that seem far too precise to be accidental. According to the person who found it, this was discovered outdoors, lying quietly as if exhausted or injured, with no signs of artificial materials or manipulation. The texture of its body, the fine structure of the wings, and the unsettling realism have left many questioning what it truly is. Could this be a real-life fairy, a creature long dismissed as folklore, or is there another explanation that science has yet to offer? As always, the final conclusion is yours to make.
The next video has been going viral on social media. It was shared by an influencer named Larissa Morelli.
She was sleeping with her husband when during the night, his motorcycle apparently turned on by itself and revved up. This scared everyone and they immediately ran outside. If there weren't cameras in my house, no one would believe it. My husband's motorcycle turned on and accelerated by itself. Desperate, without knowing what was happening, I watched from a distance without understanding anything. But what happened here? How did this motorcycle apparently turn on by itself and accelerate? Many say it was a paranormal case because the motorcycle was turned off and locked, so there would be no way for it to start like that. Others say it was just an electrical fault. And you? What do you think about this evidence? The following case was shared by a man on Reddit and has been drawing a lot of attention. He posted a photo that, according to him, is evidence of a ghost. He says that his co-worker's grandmother had sent a photo to show how a fire had taken over her house, but there was something more in that photo, something that captured more than just a fire. In the photo, a human figure appears among the debris, a very strange, dark figure that looks like an elderly man sitting there among the flames. What would a person be doing there in the middle of the fire? Could it be just an optical illusion? Could it be the real manifestation of a spirit? Whatever it is a very sinister and frightening evidence. Surveillance cameras on a street recorded silhouettes crossing a road. It was night. We can see what appears to be children, which many say are ghost children. Pay attention. In the footage, it is possible to see not just one, but two shadows that appear out of nowhere and slowly walk across the street. For some, it could just be insects passing close to the camera lens. Others are completely convinced that this is something supernatural. A young man stayed at a hotel for the night. When he arrived, an employee told him that the hotel was haunted, specifically the room he would be staying in. Skeptical, the young man didn't believe it. He went to the room and made a recording to send to his friend. However, something very sinister and frightening appeared in the footage. Pay close attention to the evidence. Exactly. When he turns the camera and focuses on the mirror on the wall, we can see a person. It looks very much like a woman sitting there, reflected in the mirror. However, when the young man turns the camera to the same spot where that woman should be, there is no one there. It is completely empty. He says he did not see anything at the time, only later when he sent the footage to his friend, and the friend asked who that young woman was sitting there. Now, is this real evidence? A ghost haunting this hotel? It was just after midnight in the Philippines when Gian's quiet evening suddenly turned into a moment of sheer terror. His wife's fear was unmistakable as she clutched their child, trying desperately to stay calm while an aggressive, unexplained noise erupted from outside their home. At first, Gian believed someone might be lurking nearby, possibly attempting to break in. But when he stepped outside and began recording, what he encountered was far more disturbing than any ordinary intruder. Windows began shaking violently on their own, even though no one was outside. Alarmed by the unexplained activity, he retreated indoors, and after a brief pause, the shaking stopped. The family tried to regain their composure, only for the phenomenon to return moments later, stronger than before. Curtains rattled, multiple windows across different rooms moved simultaneously, and it became clear this was not isolated to one spot. The disturbance continued for several nights, drawing so much attention that a major television news program reached out to Gian. Whether this was a genuine supernatural presence or a rare natural explanation remains unknown, and as always, the conclusion is left to you.
Minta anak nama. Wait, tahu. flashlight ako. Oh. Okay. Stop. Wait tao. Ang manyang lugar araw. Sabi niyo, giungot na ka dari. Giungot naman tahan yung style. Wala gid lagi. Tawa. Oh, tawas na ito ah. Tawas na ako. Wag gid. Atay man yung... Hmm? Hmm? Clear na ba di kami? Tamne yung lugaray. Ikim cheese. Aliyaw guguan yung dribi. Kabli naman na eh.
In a separate case, a man named Francisco, an employee at a medical center known for late-night emergencies and unsettling silence, experienced something he could not explain. Staff had long whispered about doors closing on their own, objects falling without cause, and footsteps echoing through empty corridors. One evening around 5 p.m., Francisco found himself completely alone when loud knocking began echoing through the building. He recorded the sounds as they followed him from hallway to hallway, sharp and deliberate, yet no one was ever found. According to paranormal belief, 3 distinct knocks are sometimes seen as a warning or an attempt by something inhuman to imitate the living. When security reviewed the footage, Francisco was the only person present. Whatever caused the knocking seemed aware of him, leaving him with a troubling question about what he should do if it happens again.
Just me here. It's like 5 o'clock and nobody's here and I'm the only one here ready to leave. Hello? 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 It's crazy because there's nobody here. Hello? 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 Where's it coming from? There's nobody. I don't know where that noise is coming from. Hello? Anybody here?
Another disturbing encounter was shared by a man who purchased a strange toy from an old marketplace. Shortly after bringing it home, unexplained activity began. One night around 3 a.m., he was jolted awake by violent noises and started recording. A table suddenly slid across the room on its own, forcing him to flee in fear. Moments later, unsettling sounds came from beneath his bed. What he captured next was even worse. A human-like arm appeared to stretch out from under the bed, yet when he checked, nothing was there. Days later, a light turned on by itself, revealing a dark shadow figure peering silently from around a corner before vanishing. With no signs of intrusion or explanation, many believe the object he brought home may have been cursed and that whatever attached itself to his home was far from finished.
O sea, son las 3 de la mañana, se siguen escuchando muchos ruidos allá afuera. Quieren abrir la puerta, raza. ¿Qué está pasando? Ay, Dios mío. Ay, Dios mío, líbrame del mal. Desde que compré ese espejo, raza. Ay. Se sigue escuchando, la verdad ya no soporto estar aquí. Ya no aguanto. ¿Qué será? No hay nada, raza. Esto ya se está saliendo de control, raza. Ya no puedo estar aquí, raza. Que le pegan al tanque allá afuera. Eso se está saliendo mucho de control, raza. No sé qué está pasando, la verdad, raza. Pero a ese tanque le pegan. Ya es el segundo día desde que están pasando estas cosas y alguien que me pueda ayudar, déjenme en los comentarios, por favor.
In another unsettling case, a mother named Natalie reviewed CCTV footage from her child's bedroom and discovered something deeply disturbing. While the child's father relaxed in the room, an object suddenly fell from the TV stand without being touched. Moments later, heavy breathing and a faint whisper were captured on audio, possibly saying hi or the child's name. Inside a bag that fell was a note bearing the child's name, written by no one in the family. This discovery led them to fear the presence of something dark.
This is my name. This is my name.
Additional footage revealed strange orbs of light outside the home and false motion detections inside the child's room, including a glowing orb rising near the bed and repeating the same motion night after night. The family believes these events are connected to a single supernatural presence watching over their home. In an abandoned house once owned by an elderly couple, paranormal investigators encountered a presence that seemed intelligent and increasingly hostile. At first, the activity was subtle. Curtains moved, frames shifted, and the house felt watchful rather than aggressive. But the longer the team stayed, the stronger the reaction became. Objects began shaking violently whenever they were touched, as if the entity was warning them to leave its belongings alone. Despite this, the team pressed on, convinced the spirit was defensive rather than violent. As they explored deeper, each room responded more intensely, suggesting the presence was growing intolerant. Some believe the haunting is tied to wartime trauma, possibly linked to a former resident or a soldier who once occupied the home. Until clearer evidence emerges, the true nature of the entity remains uncertain.
Băi, dăm ciuta. Băi, lasă-l prostile, nu mai te plimbi. Băi, mă plimb în jurul tău. Dă-mă ciuta, lasă, dă ciuta omului. Te plimbi acum. Băi, mă duc să văd o leacă ce are. Băi, eu intru să... Ce are scris pe ea, poate are scris pe ea 1743, că nebunesc. A, bule. Băi, oprește-ți, iau ciuta aia. N-a futuz nația, mătit. Na, dă-l jos. Dă-l jos, futuz rasa, mătit, na. Ia cât ți-am luat ciuta, uite-o. Alin, cu mine nu fac așa aia la fund. Hai! Na, ciuta, sărăcio, ho, oprește-te! Mâncați-aș, pula ta... Doamne, ferească Dumnezeu! De la ciută... Na, bă, mă, paranormal. Măi, de la ciută faci așa. Na, mă, iar la spânzuri-te cu ciuta aia, tragă în gura ta. Ai pus-o invers, mai cu ciuta cu capul încolo, ai pus-o? A fost scoasă din poză. Ce-a făcut? Da. Am lipit-o și nu se mai poate deslipi. Da, leagă-te la cap cu ea, dar ce nervi așa pe tine, mă, fată? Ai pus ciuta cu capul încolo, băi. Vezi acum cine dă. Hai de pula mea. Da, păi noi trebuie să mai râdim ca să nu ne căcăm pe noi. Am uitat să mă uit de sub tău. Hai că vin. Da, bune, am uitat să mă uit, mă, din... Ia uite, măi, na. Vezi ghetul, mă, te poți să faci cât vrei.
Nu, doi, măi, cu nu.
Dă-i tari, du-te, tragă în gura ta.
Nu, te înjur, măi, că nu-i iau.
Na. Na.
About 5 years ago, a strange moment was captured by a security camera. In the video, a person can be seen sleeping peacefully in their bed when suddenly their body begins to levitate into the air, something that made no sense at all. Shortly after, everything returns to normal and the person falls back onto the bed. Many believe this was inexplicable paranormal activity. Some say the video may have been edited, which is possible. However, in the video description, the man stated that he felt nothing during the incident and was just as shocked as everyone else when he watched the footage. In a small village in South Africa, a man was on his way home when something disturbing caught his attention. A strange creature was moving along the road. Although it had a body similar to a human, it walked using its feet and elbows. At first, he thought it was some kind of animal, but soon realized it was a man pretending to be disabled in order to beg for money. He stopped and recorded the video as proof to show the authorities that this type of practice was still happening in the region. Days later, another similar case was recorded in Limpopo, also in South Africa, when a driver spotted a beggar moving on his feet and elbows. The way he walked on all fours was so convincing that he ended up being nicknamed the Werewolf of Africa. Two friends were walking at night in Nadia in the Bengal region when they encountered something terrifying. A strange boy began growling and moving toward them. He had dark skin and his mouth wide open. One of the friends began recording as the boy refused to let them leave, only growling aggressively. Some believe he may have been possessed by a supernatural entity. Local residents, however, claimed he suffered from a mental disorder, which would explain his behavior.
Viral video shocked many people. We can see a group of paranormal investigators in a cemetery who find a coffin on the ground when suddenly it starts to move, as if something alive was inside the coffin. First, a slight tremor, then it grows even stronger. The person recording didn't approach because they were scared. Skeptics believe it was staged. Believers think it was the soul of someone trying to escape. But what about you? What do you think happened here? Just a planned video or a real recording?
Dale, Señor, el descanso eterno.
Y brille para ella la luz perfecta. ¡Niña, ven! ¡Dios nos guarde! ¿Dónde estoy?
In Mumbai, plugged in. Shocked by the scene, he continued recording until the two returned to normal and claimed it was all just a prank to see how people would react. On November 3, 2012, a crowd gathered in a church to watch a man perform an exorcism on several women who were allegedly possessed. One of them behaved bizarrely and was clearly not in a normal mental state, making her potentially dangerous. Because of this, the priest had to restrain her to ensure everyone's safety, including her own. Her hair was completely tangled, and her face appeared dark and distorted. She stared aggressively at another woman who, according to reports, was climbing toward the ceiling of the hall. Do you believe in this kind of spiritual healing? About a month ago, a strange incident happened at the Antioch Church in Odessa, Ukraine, where a priest was performing an exorcism on a young woman. Unexpectedly, she began to behave abnormally. Without any support, she climbed the church wall as if she were not human. The people present were left in shock, as if reality itself had fractured. The priest continued reciting verses from the Bible to free her from the evil spirit. After some time, the supposed demon left her body and everything returned to normal.
A strange video that frightened many people recorded in a cemetery shows a freshly dug grave with soft soil. Suddenly, the ground starts to rise, as if something was trying to get out. The person recording doesn't say anything, just films the video and later shares it online. Now, what was under there? Was it an animal? An insect? What was that?
Hey, get away from my field! Go on, take this!
and even more inexplicable. Shapeshifters, the metamorphs. In October 2023, a trail camera recorded two strange figures. They did not look like ordinary animals. They were thin beings with almost human bodies. Worst of all, one of them was carrying something in its mouth. It looked like another being, perhaps a companion. The first camera showed them crawling like shadowy creatures, but a second camera revealed something even more disturbing. They were walking like people. Who or what were those shapeshifters? Mysterious creature in Alaska. On a freezing day in Alaska, a worker was driving to the oil field where he worked, not imagining that his camera would record something that would frighten many people. As the truck moved through the snow, something enormous appeared between the trees. It was a dark creature with huge arms and legs, far too tall to be any known animal. It stood still, watching the truck pass by. When the worker watched the video later, he panicked and swore never to take that road again. The mysterious intruder in the field. On a cloudy morning in Indonesia, a farmer was checking his crops when he saw an orange creature moving in a strange way, supported on its hands and feet. Intrigued, he followed it and called out to the being, but it did not turn or stop, it just kept going. The farmer became afraid. He had never seen anything like it. Could it be an unknown animal? Something magical? It left many questions unanswered. The Shadow Walker. Late at night, a driver stopped in the middle of the forest to urinate. That was when he noticed something moving among the bushes. He began filming, and a white silhouette emerged from the shadows. The creature walked toward him. Terrified, he ran back to the car and fled. Some interpreted the video as a possible Skinwalker, a mystical creature from ancient legends. The terror of the night. A resident was recording strange noises in the bushes. He thought it was just some animal playing, but the truth was far worse. From the shadows emerged a humanoid creature with glowing eyes, staring at him intensely. He ran in desperation, believing he had encountered a real Skinwalker. But what was that creature doing hiding there, and where had it come from? In the dead of night, a security camera captured something that defies explanation. Standing motionless in a rural yard, illuminated only by infrared light, was a figure that appeared half human and half animal. The upper body looked unmistakably humanoid, upright and slender, while below the form merged into the muscular frame of a horse. Whether it was an elaborate hoax, a trick of shadows, or something far more disturbing, the image reignited ancient legends of centaurs and left viewers unsettled by the possibility that myths may not be as fictional as once believed. Some suggested an elaborate hoax or a carefully staged costume, while others argued it could be an animal positioned in such a way that the camera created a horrifying illusion. Yet many viewers were not convinced. The image bore an uncanny resemblance to ancient depictions of centaurs, mythical beings thought to exist only in legend. Whether the result of coincidence, manipulation, or something far more unsettling, the photograph left one haunting question behind. The humanoid from India. In the state of Jara, India, two people were traveling by motorcycle along an empty road when they spotted a white figure in the distance. It had a human shape, but no face, no eyes, completely smooth. They stopped to film. The entity turned its head toward them, as if it realized it was being watched. Was it an alien, an unknown creature? No one was able to explain what that being really was. During a live stream, a YouTuber's adventure in the forest took a frightening turn. As soon as he started filming, he saw something that made his blood run cold. Two strange figures hidden behind the trees. Even afraid, he slowly approached, trying to understand what they were. Nervous, he began repeating sacred words to protect himself. When he tried to touch one of them, both creatures ran away at an impressive speed. The YouTuber searched everywhere, but the beings disappeared without leaving any trace. Shocking encounter. A resident was walking with his dog near the forest when he experienced something unbelievable. The dog ran ahead, and when the man caught up, he saw a body lying on the ground. It looked like an alien. Worse still, just above it, a black UFO hovered silently, as if waiting to rescue the fallen being and take it back to space. Terrified, the man fled and posted the video. After that, everything became a mystery. No one knows if the alien was taken away or if authorities found it. Small, mysterious creature. An explorer was walking through the forest when something unexpected made him step back. From behind a tree emerged a small, dark figure. It looked almost human, but not entirely. Thin arms, a large and disproportionate face. He considered the possibility that it was a small alien hidden in the woods. Suddenly, the being disappeared as quickly as it had appeared. The explorer never told anyone, fearing he would not be believed. To this day, he wonders what he really saw. Alien in the forest. At dawn, a wildlife photographer